Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. So today we're making an Arabic dish called Samke Harra. It translates to spicy fish, and it's made slightly differently across the Middle East in different regions, but this is the way that I've learned how to make it. So I'm using cod fish, but you can also use different types of white fish. And I'm using a cup of chopped cilantro, some lemon, olive oil, 6 cloves of garlic. So for the spices, I'm using a teaspoon of ground coriander, a teaspoon and a half of cumin, a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ground cardamom, and half a teaspoon of white pepper. And as always, I will have all of this in the description below. So I'm squeezing some lemon here because you're going to want to have a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And I'm going to go ahead and mince the garlic now. So that's 6 cloves of garlic, and I'm placing them into the chopped cilantro, also known as coriander. So there's all the garlic in there. I know it's quite a bit of garlic, but it is definitely needed. So next we're going to add the lemon juice and olive oil. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a 1/4 cup of the lemon juice. So you're going to want to mix that up. It doesn't need to be a paste really, but you can just try to mix it up as best you can, because this is going to be the topping on the fish later on. So I'm just taking a wooden spoon and giving it a bit of a mash, but personally I like the cilantro to be not fully chopped up. I like it to still have some texture. So I'm just adding in all the spices there and mixing it all together. And you can start to smell those spices combine, and it is just so delicious. The combination, it's quite amazing actually, that these spices on their own don't mean much, but once you combine them, something magical happens. So I'm just adding 2 more tablespoons of olive oil there, and I'm adding about half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, or kind of to taste if you like it spicy. So I'm mixing that all up together. And then at this point you can just let it sit. And now we're going to prepare our rice. So I'm adding about a tablespoon or so of butter to the pot, letting that melt. And here I'm using a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of white pepper. And as always, I will have all the ingredients for the fish and the rice in the description below. So now I'm going to be adding the basmati rice that I've pre-soaked for about half an hour ahead of time. As you know from my other videos, this is something I do all the time whenever making rice. I soak it ahead of time. So you just want to mix that up and try to get that yellow coating all over the rice. And we're going to be adding in boiling water. So I've used a kettle just to boil the water, and I'm adding in 4 cups of water, and that's to cook 2 cups of rice. So give that a stir, and then you're going to want to bring it to a boil. And once it's boiling, you want to just lower the heat on 2 or 3, cover it. And then once you see that the water is evaporated, you want to turn off the heat, cover it, and place a tea towel over top of it. So that's it for the rice. Now going back to the fish. My fish was frozen, so you want to make sure that it's fully thawed and dry it up as best you can. So I'm just adding in that paste that we made earlier and trying to coat all the fish with that wonderful paste that smells so good, and it's full of flavor. So I'm just using my hand to kind of mix it up and coat it as best as I can. You could also just take each fish one by one and dip it in the sauce. But I just wanted to make sure that I would have enough for all this fish. So next you're going to want to heat up your pan. And you're going to want to add, I'm using butter, but then you could also add oil to cook the fish. So I'm adding in a couple pieces of fish here. And you want to make sure that the skillet is quite hot at this point. Okay, so what happened near the end of cooking, my husband had come home and he decided that he wanted to add red peppers to this dish. So although I didn't have that in the beginning of the video, I'll definitely add it in the description below, that you want to chop up some red pepper and saute it and then add it to this fish mixture. So sorry about that, it was kind of impromptu, but it is a nice addition to the dish. So here's the fish all cooked. We kind of broke it apart a little bit in the pan, and there you can see the red pepper diced and cooked in there with the fish. And so we're just serving it now on the plate. And you can see that beautiful yellow rice and how we're topping it with the fish and the red pepper. It is such a colorful dish to look at, first of all, but wait until you try it. It's truly mind-blowing. Like, I never knew fish could taste this good. So there it is. We're going to be adding a little bit of parsley as a garnish, and that's it. So this dish only took me about 30 to 40 minutes to make, and it's so good, so delicious, a great way to use the fish you might have in your freezer and you don't know what to do with it. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll definitely appreciate a thumbs up. So let me know what you think. Enjoy!